Alright. Okay, let's go back to the main menu, shall we? Okay, so real quick, before I start the run, I'm gonna go ahead and show this off real quick. So on the title screen, if I hold onto the control stick for about a few seconds and then advance, okay, it didn't work that time, so let's go ahead and try that again. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you just heard Nabbit's voice there, and what that is that in this version of the game, they added a mechanic where if you press the jump button in mid-air, then you spin in mid-air, because I'm used to the original New Super Luigi U game, some of my strats will get thrown off if I use that. So I just disabled that by doing that setup that I just did there. Yeah. All right. With that, let's go and do our introductions now. My name is M238.
I am Pretends to Know.
And I'm U-Video.
Right. So another thing that they added in this version is you can choose which character you want to play as. In the original, is only just Luigi, but we can choose any character now. And there is no donation bid war or anything like that. So before the event, I made a poll as to like which character you guys want me to use, and based on the results, you guys want me to use Toadette. So thank you guys so much for voting for Toadette. We now have a speedrun.
I voted for Toadette.
So thank you guys. Okay, so time does not start until I start moving on the map. So if we're ready to go, I guess we can start. You guys ready?
Yeah. We're ready.
Okay. So this is New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe for the Nintendo Wii U. This is a remake / port of the original New Super Mario Bros. U for the Nintendo Wii U to the Nintendo Switch. It came out on January 10th, 2019. And the most common question is, what are the differences? And there aren't really any major differences at all. Some levels have different aesthetics, but they have no real effect on the level designs themselves. So everything that you're going to be seeing in this run can also be done on the original version as well. They also ported in New Super Luigi U, which is the game that I'm going to be playing tonight. And so last year, in the last Link to the Cure marathon, I actually did run the original New Super Luigi U on the same exact category, all castles. And since then, the world record has been brought down by like 14 seconds. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but in the standards of this category, it is a lot. It is a pretty big deal. So I'm going to hopefully try and show those off. Unfortunately, even with those new strats, I'm still going to have a slower time than last year because one of the major disadvantages that this version has is that it loads slower than the original. But we'll try our best here. So the run's about to begin soon. All right.
Yeah, one of the other
ready,
differences...
set,
go
go.
ahead.
Okay. So right off the bat, I'm about to get the main power-up of the game, which is the Super Acorn. And it's going to allow me to get the Super Acorn, the Super Acorn. It's going to allow me to turn into a squirrel so I can fly through the levels. And if everything goes well, this should be the only power-up that I use throughout the entire run.
For those who are wondering if Peachette will make an appearance, she's unfortunately slower all around. But so the only way she'll show up is if M-Chan loses all his acorns, because she is only faster than not having a flying power up altogether. So
Yeah, it's just kind of like a last resort backup. But you don't generally want to use Peach at in runs. Here in 1-2, M-Chan's going to be getting the normal exit. If you've seen like an any percent run, then you'd get the secret exit here, which will let you get to like the warp level for World 1, and then let you go to World 5, but there's not really a point in doing that since we are going to tackle all the castles, so we need to get to one castle first.
So,
And-
so 1-2 right there, that was like the first difficult level. I picked up that star right in the beginning in order to get a speed boost, and then the second star that I got can only be obtained if you hit that block while you have a star, and that's so you can go through like that ending part quicker and much safer. So coming up is 1-Tower. 1-Tower is also really difficult because we have these spinning gears and they have really clunky physics. Hopefully I can go through things just fine.
If M-Chan lands on the gears at the wrong angle, it will kill all his momentum. And there have been times where I jump and manage to land right in a gear tooth. So, not gonna happen today, it looks like.
Okay, so the boss of every tower is Boom Boom, and the strategy is just jump on him 3 times and then you win.
If anyone knows what Super Mario Bros. 3 players think of Boom Boom, we have the exact same opinion.
Yeah, if M-Chan was doing an all castles normal run, then he would have switched to Nabbit by now, because Nabbit doesn't take damage and it makes some of the upcoming levels a little bit faster, but this category is the Toadette only one, so we won't be seeing Nabbit.
Yeah, so in the original game, there's a hidden mechanic where you can use Nabbit by just holding a button as you select a level, but they took that away in this version. That this time you have to manually select using Nabbit, which for some levels does save time, but for this run we are only going to be using Toadettes. So Nabbit's a character who doesn't die, so you can run through enemies. And Nabbit just doesn't care. So like for a lot of difficult levels, like Nabbit's faster for those. But again, we're not gonna be seeing that at all in this run. Also,
And this,
what?
yeah, I was about to say this level has one of the few exploits that we'll be seeing in this run. The spin jumping off of wheels.
Yeah, I'll go over more about that later. But also earlier you saw me pick up an acorn, after the tower. And so in PB attempts, I actually skipped grabbing that acorn because it's about 8 seconds to pick it up. But because I'm only using Toadettes and there's a lot of opportunities for me to get hit, skipping that acorn is not safe in this type of setting.
Marathon safety first.
So in this level, there's actually a really difficult pixel-perfect jump that I could have made, which saves 2 seconds, but that is considered IL only, so we're not going to be doing that at all.
And now we are off to our first castle.
So I guess we didn't talk about the...
Which?
Go. Keep going.
I was about to say there's not really much too special about this castle, just pretty much where M-Chan's going to be flying over the majority of it. It's generally not a good idea to run on the swinging platforms because if you catch them on an uphill, you lose running speed.
Yeah, that was really weird, but that's fine. So the category that I'm running is all castles. So all castles differs from any percent. It's twice as long as any percent, and it differs from any percent because in any percent you skip worlds 2, 3, 4, and 6. In this category, we're going to be seeing all 8 worlds done as fast as possible. So it's essentially like our workless category of this game, and I think it's twice as fun as any percent.
Yeah, I guess a true workless would be only 7 of the worlds, since you don't technically have to do all of them, but we'll talk a little more about that later.
Alright, so
Oh,
at the end of every castle, you're going to be fighting a Koopaling, and this one's Lemmy Koopa, and every Koopaling has similar strats of their own. So as long as you fight all the bosses the same way, then you shouldn't have any trouble with the fights. There are a few exceptions for some of them coming up later, but for the most part,
One major exception.
For the most part, all these fights are pretty consistent. So that's World 1 completed, and now we're going to head off to World 2. The first level, 2-1, there's something interesting that is like a major time save in this version exclusively, and that is that in this level, if you play as Nabbit, it is slower, but when you complete the level as Nabbit, there's going to be a cutscene at the end of this next level. But if you're playing as Nabbit, it completely skips this cutscene because you can't have 2 Nabbits on screen.
Nabbit.
So like Toad's gonna like let us know that Nabbit has stole his stuff and that we have to go and retrieve them, but we don't care about that, and so yeah.
The reward you get for defeating a Nabbit, or catching a Nabbit in a level, is you get a P acorn, which allows you to fly over levels, similar to the P-Wing in Super Mario Bros. 3. But there is no level in which that would save enough time to justify the detour.
You have to backtrack to World 1 and catch Nabbit, get the P acorn, which does lose a very significant amount of time. Although some levels do have really cool strats for P acorn, but it's just not worth it. Unfortunately, in this run.
If you watch a 100% run, you might see some cool P acorn strats in 1, 2, and I think 6 Tower 2
Yeah, exactly.
as well.
There's a lot of in catching Nabbit is required 100%, so we do that in 100% category. All right, so over here is another split path, and so we saw this earlier between 1-4 and 1-5. And usually you want to pick the faster level of the two. So in this case, we're going to choose 2-3. 2-2, on the other hand, is like very difficult to do. Not that this level is any easier either. This level is dark. You have to kind of so this level you kind of have to study really well if you want to do it optimally. So to explain why earlier in the run I said that Toadette is that I was really happy about the fact that I'm going to be playing as Toadette in the run. So Toadette is new to this game. Toadette plays similar to all the other characters, but she's essentially easy mode. She has less friction than the others, so like it makes quick turning a lot easier. And there's also some other differences that we'll point out as we get to them. But the other difference is that she has 100 extra check-ins. Also, I'm going to focus on this level because this level is really technical, but it's also really cool if it goes.
Does Toadette make this 2 tower easy?
Yes. So at the end here, there's going to be a... If I get this... Alright, we got that. So that saves about 3 seconds over the other strat that I used to do in last year's run. But it's also like really high risk because if you're not quick enough through that, then you will die. And that strat was found that strat was found by a German runner named BlueX2. He came into the scene of this game relatively recently, and he found a bunch of strats that none of us have ever thought about doing for a long time.
I think he actually came onto the scene because Toadette initially interested in him, And then he just branched out and did everything.
Yeah. Okay, so coming up next is the worst part of all castles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get past this whole bridge without running into the Goomba or the Fire Bro. There's also an acorn which you can get, and so I have to just hope that I get lucky and not run into any of these enemies. And where they move is random.
Yeah. Yeah, and he will do this right after this important cutscene where we learn Peach is still kidnapped.
Alright, here we go. Okay, please move. I would like you to move. Oh my goodness. Sometimes if you spend long enough, it is just better to just run into the enemies, but sometimes you just don't want to.
I don't know if you can.
Well, somehow works.
This is not good. At this point, this would have been just about the same time as if I ran to one of the enemies. Okay, so we made it through, but we still lost a lot of time, which is unfortunate. But that is what happens in this category.
Yeah, I will say, having been in your 100% run last year, I think that was still better than 13th try Rainbow or Fuzzy RNG.
13.
So I'm gonna be doing something that looks unusual, and that is that I'm gonna be getting the secret exit here into that door, and we'll explain why later. But for now, just trust us. This is going to make sense later.
After World 3.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the only level that we actually do twice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so now we're gonna do this again. Alright, so now doing the regular exit here, what I need to do is I need to like set up a very specific cycle. So I can't make any mistakes here in this beginning part. And then if I do this right, I can set myself up for this really precise jump. Okay, there we go, we got that. So that right there is actually harder than it looks. Because if you do it, if something's slightly wrong, then you will get hit by that waddle wing. You cannot be too fast, nor can you be too slow.
Yeah.
Also,
Also,
I was just gonna say, I know you said it's harder than it looks, but it did look hard, by the way.
Yeah.
Pretends mentioned earlier that we did an X-Play in 1-3, so now you get to see more of it here in this level. So I'm actually spin jumping off of these rolling hills. Whenever you spin jump off of something that is moving, then you actually preserve that momentum. So I'm doing all these spins right here, followed by a glide, and you can see just how fast I'm moving. Just like that. And then also, every once in a while, you are seeing me spin jumping in not just places that I'm off of like anything moving, but also spin jumps when you have a super acorn are the same height as a triple jump, and so that extra height does make a pretty big difference whenever, like, especially when I'm climbing vertical levels.
Spin jumping will help him get a little extra distance, and sometimes that can help him get a little extra cheese out of some of these levels.
Yeah, a lot of jumps are certainly made easier by doing a spin jump.
So we just went through 2 castles, pretty straightforward, and then now we're heading up to boss, Morton Koopa Jr. And so Morton has this giant pokey, and we're gonna go over that and then land on him. Okay, so this first hit right there, I did the earliest hit possible, and doing that hit is actually like really risky because Morton's hammer has a really huge hitbox, so it's really high risk that you're going to get hit by the hammer while you're doing that early hit. So most people usually just wait for a little bit in order to avoid the risk of getting hit by the hammer. There's also a faster strat in the fight where you can damage boost through the pokey, and that's just a little bit faster than than just flying over the pokey. But that would mean that I have to re-equip my acorn, which loses more time than doing the damage boost.
In the Mario U side, if you're not playing as Toadette, it's faster because the very next level has acorns in it.
Okay, so now we have a split path between World 3 and World 4. Both these worlds will take you to World 5. So you only have to do one of them, but since this is all castles, we are going to be doing both worlds. I'm going to go to World 4 first. As Toadette, it actually doesn't matter which one out of the two you do first. But for everybody else, doing World 4 first just will allow you to save about 12 seconds in World 3. I'm going to do this really technical level right here. Those bruisers are really annoying to deal with. They have really annoying hitboxes. But there we go.
And so do those barrels.
One other thing about Toadette, actually, which I guess isn't super noticeable when speedrunning, but during casual play, she doesn't have, like, ice physics.
Yeah.
Either doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Okay. So 4-2 is pretty straightforward. What I'm going to do at the end of the level, though, is slow down for about a second, because the fastest time you can get is 77. And when you end a level with the last 2 digits being the same, then you get fireworks, which loses 15 seconds. So I'm going to slow down right here, and then wait for the 76, and then reach the end of the level.
If you accidentally do get a 77, it's not necessarily the end of the world. You at least get a backup acorn from it.
Yeah, it's a very
so
excellent
that is
beginner
something
strat.
nice. Yeah, for sure.
Alright, so right here I'm gonna delay a bit and then go, because if I just go straight up, then I'm gonna run into the Cooligan, which will trigger a battle, and you do not want to run to the Cooligan at all.
Cooligans are a lot worse than the the Fire Bro and the Goomba in World 2. Fortunately, though, they're easier to dodge. Now he's just dodging icicles to get through the level, and then it's faster to wall jump up the platform than it is to take the platform, and we're fighting another Boom Boom.
This Boom Boom fight's easier as Toadette because, like you Vids mentioned earlier, Toadette does not have ice physics. And there we go.
I want to say pretty much every Boom Boom fight, you really just have to hit him one time, and then for the other 2 hits, you just jump on him right as he gets up. And that's it.
Yeah, that's also true of most of the Koopalings, too.
Yeah, that is true.
And then sometimes optimizing the hits can sometimes be difficult because people can try to be a little bit too greedy and then they just get hit because they jump on them too early.
I am very guilty of that one.
Alright. So the rest of World 4 is pretty straightforward. So there's not really much to talk about for any of these levels. What I'm doing here is right there at the beginning, I did a frame perfect jump, and that's because even though Toadette does not have ice physics, she still decelerates slower on ice. So when you're running on ice, you accelerate really slowly, and so by just jumping right at the start, you can avoid that really slow deceleration. Okay, so you can get a 79 there, but you have to play the level absolutely perfectly, which is really difficult, and it barely saves anything, but it's just cool to get.
And also one thing to note is since as in Super Luigi U and also Mario U, you'll note if you've noticed Enchan's grabbing the flagpole just anywhere. It doesn't matter where you grab the flagpole in this game because the character will not come off the flagpole until the Bowser flag is all the way down. So
yeah, and I'm also turning around right before I hit the flagpole, and that saves a few frames for every flagpole. So that way, your character does not turn around at the end of the flagpole animation. And so, same deal over here, I'm slowing down so I can avoid the 77, and there we go. Waited fireworks again.
Yeah, the turning before the flagpole thing was actually like a thing in New Super Mario Bros. For the DS, like long before this game came out. So it's kind of funny that it translates to this one as well.
Only other thing to note of this level is if you lost your acorn, it's one of the few levels where Toadette can pick up a new acorn because a squirrel is carrying it.
Okay, so coming to our first ghost house, and this ghost house is really difficult. I have to do some very... Okay, so now my cycle's off, so I gotta improv this level somehow. Okay. So normally, there'd be, like, I have to do 2 really precise duck jumps between that first boomerang. So now we're gonna see how the rest of the level turns out. Oh my goodness. Dropped inputs here.
Yeah.
Alright. And then this last part I have to wait. Okay. Took that a little bit safe, but that's okay. Alright, as long as I didn't get hit, it's really easy to get hit by any of those boomerangs. And if you mess up there, you can see like how much the level can snowball on you.
No pun intended.
But there we go. So the next level, 4 Castle, again, I'm gonna delay a little bit in order to avoid hitting any of these hooligans.
Yeah, as someone who like runs the other games, I would say the boomerangs in this game are relatively like lenient because you don't have to like duck jump in order to make it through. But if you get thrown off your cycle, then it's kind of hard to just YOLO.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is a speedrunning level, as I like to consider it. Basically, the intention of this level is there's a lot of these blocks, and you have to just run underneath all of them.
Kind of looks like a Mario.
Yeah, and then this part right here, you have 1 chance only because those brick blocks just break. Go.
Yeah. Also, speaking of Mario Maker, in this level, do not try to spin jump on those thwomps. It will not do what you think it will do.
I've never tried that, but that's funny.
So the Wendy fight. So there's spikes on the top, so you want to just be careful not to jump too high in this room. And then other than that, it's just pretty straightforward. When she comes up is semi-random, whether she comes up on a slope or like on like right there on that spot. But for the most part, it shouldn't be terribly difficult.
And again, just not having ice physics helps a lot here.
Alright, so that's World 4 completed. And now we're... you can go to World 5 now, but we're going to go to World 3. Still have to do World 3.
Yes, and that is definitely the only reason.
So in the original All Castles or in other character categories for this game, you would see M-Chan pick up Baby Yoshi at the start of World 4. And that's because Baby Yoshi helps you swim faster for some of the water levels in World 3. But for this one, Toadette actually has a faster swimming speed. And so it doesn't save enough time to be worth it to grab Baby Yoshi.
So as you just saw, I bypassed Baby Yoshi. We're not gonna be picking him up at all. Basically, in every category that uses Toadette only, Baby Yoshi is just completely obsolete.
Yes. She has so much better swim physics than anyone else.
Not Nabbit.
Yeah, they also changed Nabbit in this version to where Nabbit is basically easier mode, where he does have the same control as Toadette, but also with the same properties that Nabbit can't get hit by anything.
So.
Alright, so coming up is 3-2. So, like they said, Toadette swims really fast. If you've played New Super Mario Bros. Wii, you are familiar with the power-up the penguin suit. And with the penguin suit, you swim really fast in the water. Toadette swims really fast in the water no matter what power-up she has. You're gonna be seeing that right here.
Biggest important difference is you have directional control over which direction Toadette swims, which is not true of standard Mario physics.
Yeah, although now that you do have like a lot of control over the swimming and stuff, it can become harder to do these levels optimally. Like a lot harder.
And this does save a lot of time. This is a horizontal swimming level, so being able to swim this fast is really helpful. This saves like 12 seconds, where as opposed to if you were to do this level like normally. Actually, no, it's 20 seconds. But if you're playing as the other characters, if you were able to get Baby Yoshi, it just saves 12 seconds overall.
Yep. And now for this next level, the one that begs you to play as Nabbit.
Yeah, so because I'm not playing as Nabbit, I have to wait for all these cycles right here. Loses a lot of time, but that's okay. This is part of the skill right here. It's being able to wait.
Patience is a skill.
Alright, there we go. So yeah, with Nabbit, you can just jump through all those skewers, and then you'll get a much faster time coming into the door. So Nabbit saves the most amount of time in this level. Alright, so this Boom Boom fight is exactly the same as in 4 Tower. You may also notice that Kamek powers up Boom Boom to make Boom Boom do something different to make it seem like it's harder, but yeah, we know what he does.
I don't know what he does. I always stun locked him so fast.
Alright, so coming up is the Ghost Ship. The only hard part about the Ghost Ship is at the end. Other than that, it's fairly consistent. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, speaking of Nabbit, in a normal run, you would use him for all of Worlds 4 and 3, and that's mainly because his swimming speed is just a lot faster, and World 4 has a lot of levels that are like cluttered with enemies.
Yep.
Oh, that's not good. Okay, so I did a wrong type of jump there, and now because I'm small, I'm gonna have to actually play this last part really safe. I'm gonna prevent myself from dying.
Yeah.
Okay, we made it.
Those purple fish can be real annoying.
So I was actually supposed to do a jump, but at the part where I spun and got hit, but for some reason I wasn't thinking of that. But this is why we have backups.
Yeah, you still got 3 backups.
Oh. I also forgot about that boo ring at the end. M-Chan took it safe because he was small, but generally there's a real tight duck jump you can do to not wait for the cycle.
Yeah, but it is really precise. But because I was small there, it wasn't worth taking that risk. Alright, so this level, you may notice right there that looked like a mistake, but that's actually not a mistake because you have to wait for a 76 for this level anyway. You can get a 77, but it's really that's really difficult because you have to get past the piranha plants at the end, and it's really difficult. And even if you make it through, it's just you get a 77, which means fireworks. So that is a yellow strat, which, you know, in RTA it doesn't save any time. So that's an IL strat mostly. And even at doing that as Nabbits, it's still really difficult to do.
Yeah. Also, you noticed he spent most of his time jumping on palm trees. That's because running on them, since they have such weird slopes, you can wind up losing a lot of speed. This level, it's actually probably the best example of the swimming exploits you can pull with directional swimming, because the dragon eels, which were the giant purple monsters creeping in off screen, M-Chan was easily able to swim them, which is harder to do as Luigi.
And you can actually get an 81 in that level, but that requires you to play the level really perfectly. It's easier to get as Toadette, which I did not get this time, but even as Toadette, it's still really hard. As everybody else, getting an 81 involves mashing really hard without dropping a single mash. So here's another level where Toadette does save time. This swimming part right here. You cannot carry Baby Yoshi in the castle at all if you're playing as everybody else, so you have to go through the swimming section really slowly. And so that part right there, Toadette saves like 3 seconds. So overall, in the course of the All Castles run, Toadette saves like 10 seconds over everybody else.
Yoshi's just way easier to control.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in the speedrun, like many people think that, well, Toadette might be easier just because she's easy mode, but in the speedrun she's actually harder because as far as surviving, as far as not getting hit goes, like managing your power-ups, it's actually harder as Toadette because in this version, by the way, you can just actually stand still on the second hit and then you just hit Larry automatically without having to jump. As Toadette, it's actually harder to manage your power-ups because every block that contains a Super Acorn gets replaced by a Super Crown, which is exclusive to Toadette, which turns her into Peachette, and it's kind of like the Raccoon Leaf from Super Mario Bros. 3, where if you use its utilities, it's actually slower. So you don't want to use the Super Crown at all in the run. Although there is a category exclusive to using Peachette, which Pretends here knows about.
Yeah. I mean, Peachette's great, yo. That's really all I gotta say. But unfortunately, being great and being fast are not in this case mutually exclusive.
Okay, so you're gonna notice I did not go straight to World 5 because this is where the 2-4 secret exit comes into play. So that unlocks 2-secret, which is a shortcut to World 5, and we're gonna be using this to get to World 5. The reason is because the next level coming up is 5 Airship, and 5 Airship is not a very good level to do at all, because at the start of the level there's a very long cutscene, And then there is a nice 3.5-minute auto-scroller of a level. And then there's a really painful boss fight. And then followed by that is a really long cutscene at the end. So all of that, and then doing all this backtracking to like go out of our way to get the secret exit 2-4 and then do the secret level here, it's still faster than doing 5 airship.
5-airship is the slowest level in the entire game.
Yeah, you don't want to deal with that.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know how much
The
faster it is
only-
to do this?
It's about a
instead of
minute.
level?
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Pretty big.
I didn't know it was that much.
Yeah, the only level that is slower than 5-airship in Luigi U is 5-airship in Mario U.
What about 7-airship in Mario U?
Actually, now that you mention it, that one may be slower. Hang on,
That's like the longest level in the series.
Yeah.
If I'm correct.
longest level.
Alright, so
Touche.
Alright, so now we're on World 5, and World 5, this is where all castles start to get pretty interesting. So it actually doesn't look like it, but World 5 is actually the shortest world in the run, because we actually only do 4 levels. And when you're going through World 5 normally, it's actually pretty long, because there is an extra section that you have to go through. Normally, it's called the Haunted Forest. In any percent you go through it, because there's a secret level in there that will lead you to World 7, that run. But we take a much different route here in this category, because we need to get to the castle as fast as we can. So after this level right here, I'm going to go to 5-2, and we're going to get the secret exit. And the secret exit of 5-2 will actually skip a lot of World 5.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that you actually do more levels in World 5 in any percent than you do in this category.
So the normal way of going through World 5, otherwise without this secret exit, is you would do either this or 5-3, and then you have to do 5 Tower, which features a really difficult skip. And then there's the Ghost House, and then a choice between 1 out of 2 of the hardest levels in the game, and then RNG, and then off to where we're about to go to.
Yep.
Yeah, that 5 towers skip is a huge reset point for any percent, which I just recently kind of picked up. So it's kind of nice that you don't have to worry about it.
And actually, it's the only tower that we skip in the entire game.
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
So now we go around the entire Haunted Forest, we skip all those levels, and then now we're already off to the bottom part of World 5. We have a choice between 5-6 and 5-7. We're going to do 5-6. 5-6 has a recently new optimization, where you can actually get a 79 in this level, and that saves 1 second over what we... So Blue found out you can actually slide off of these logs right here, and that builds up enough speed so you can get a 79 at the end of this level. And there we go. 1 second. Yeah, that's actually really difficult. That middle part where I like went underneath one of the logs and onto a bottom pipe, it's actually like more difficult than it looks.
Those Sumo Bros Lightning has a smaller hitbox than it looks, but it's not that much smaller.
Yeah, it's a lot smaller, and
It's a lot.
That goes for like any of the like shock, like electricity looking things in this game. The hitbox is a lot smaller than it was.
Not enough to make that a no-risk thing, what he just did.
Right.
Alright, so now we're off to Iggy Koopa, and this guy is a jerk, pretty much. So we'll see how this guy goes. It's partially random. There are ways to kind of manipulate what he can do, but they're not very consistent.
If you have it, you can run into one of the things that he shoots out of his wand, and it'll immediately make him fall, but we don't have the luxury of doing that.
Yeah, you can damage boost off of them, but you gotta be, you either have to have enough extra acorns or be willing to take a crown in the next level.
And there's actually another strat where you can actually hit Iggy while he's on the ceiling, but that is very, very difficult to do, and that's only done as an aisle strat. But there we go, that's Iggy Koopa. I did get hit, so we're gonna have to re-equip Acorn again. So now coming is World 6, which is the hardest world in the run. There's a lot of ways where one mistake could lose you seconds, and then it just all adds up to being a lot the more mistakes that you make in 6. This is definitely my least favorite world basically probably in the entire game. The first level's not so bad. Well, actually, the first 2 levels aren't so bad, and then every level after that, they're all very technical. Let's see how they all go.
Yeah, and the tower levels are generally some of the harder levels in the run, and World 6 has 2 of them. So.
Yeah, World 6 is actually unique in that it actually has 2 towers. It's actually the longest world in the game. There's actually like 2 different routes to go through World 6. And obviously we're going to take the faster of the 2 routes, which doesn't look like it's the faster of the 2 routes, but it is faster.
And we're also about to be introduced to this world's gimmick, which is hitting switches to change pathways, which doesn't add as much as you'd think it would, but okay. I like the sound effect.
Hey, it's not much to talk about for this level.
So the other route you're talking about, the other route, isn't it like less levels, but one of them's like a long auto-scroller? Okay, that's what I thought.
Not much to say about this level. Right here, I'm about to do a pipe boost, which saves just a little bit of time, but it looks cool. So it's actually easier to do that pipe boost with an acorn. Because one mechanic that the acorn has is you can actually cling on to walls, which makes wall jumping easier. Super acorn.
You can also just spam the B button and hold left, and you'll get it.
Okay, so
that's how I do it.
Coming up is kind of a glitch and kind of not. It's called Hidden Block Clip. I'll let you guys talk about it.
Yep.
Yeah, so Mchan is gonna do like a glide thing, or not a glide, I guess you would call it a fly with the acorn, and it doesn't really look like he's doing anything special, but he's going right through where there's a hidden block.
Yeah, what it is when he hits, he's gonna hit one of the hidden blocks, and when he does that, it raises Toadette's hitbox just enough to where if he uses the acorn's double jump, he can Toadette the game will read that she's not touching the block, and so she'll be able to fly through it instead of triggering it.
Yeah, so otherwise you have to hit those. Oh my god, what happened there? Otherwise you have to wait. You have to hit those hidden blocks and then wait for the roll to open up the pathway upwards, and that loses like 6 seconds. And both sides do have hidden blocks, so you can do either the left or right side hidden block clip. Left side is harder, but technically faster to do.
Do you think you might go for the backup acorn in 7-2?
I
guess that's in a little bit, but that's the next one I can
I'll
think
think
of.
about it. Alright, so this level also has a new strat. Not really new anymore, but we'll see how this goes. This is really hard. Okay, got it. So that saves 1 second over what used to be done.
Yeah.
I think the vertical levels are really impressive to watch.
Oh, yes.
They really do test your knowledge about the Super Acorn, which is really nice.
A Super Acorn really benefits a lot from. Really helps. Actually, it's all just all around the best item. Like the only reason that any other item is used is in 100%. There's a few star coins that require you to use a different item, but otherwise you go faster sideways with it, and you can cheese vertically with it as well.
All right, so we got the secret exit there, and that secret exit is really fast, so we get it. And this is the only way that we're going to get to this red switch coming up. And we need this red switch press in order to access the back entrance of the castle. And this will save us quite a lot of time in World 6.
He'll get to skip an entire level and basically spend about half as much time in the castle because of this. Yeah, a gimmick of this level is you can do spins on those metal platforms to move them, but with the acorn you can just fly up to the spots and skip them all together.
So I'm gonna go for an IL strat here. Hopefully I can get this. It's really difficult. Okay, we didn't get it. Alright, so now we have to... Oh, that is actually... Alright, so I actually have no more backup acorns, so... They have to go back to World 1.
So what you could do is... Well, you can just do 6 castles, maybe nab it, and then 7-1 nab it.
Well,
do you know
no,
the
I can do the castle without acorn.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe you could do 7-1 nab it, and then 7-2 like as a normal character, and get the 77 on the clock.
If Toadette gets a 77 on the clock, she'll get the acorn. She doesn't get. She only gets super crowns out of rings and blocks.
Yeah, so it should be like a pretty good backup. I mean, 15-second time loss. It's faster than going to like 1-1.
Oh gosh. Alright, so that...
Do you know how to do...
So unfortunately that's a death.
Or...
What? Yeah, but... I don't...
That's bad RNG.
I don't want to do that, though.
Yeah.
No, I mean...
It's fair.
Oh man, alright, so... Here's a normal strat right here. We have to kind of bait here. Woo! Okay, that was really close. Oh man. I apologize if this run's not going so well.
I forgot. It's alright, you're doing a good job. Forgot to put a bless RNG in the chat for this, that's why that happened.
Yeah. Fortunately, Roy is pretty straightforward. He fires a bullet and then you stun lock him.
This is actually this is gonna be your favorite Koopaling if you were to run 100% because you actually find it twice.
Yeah, if there was just some way to get that 3rd star coin without going through the back entrance, you wouldn't have to do that, but I don't think that's possible.
No, there's not a way. Okay. But there we go, that's World 6. Again, World 6 is, like I said, World 6 is my least favorite world in the entire run. And you just got to see an example you got to see like a few examples as to why. Normally that castle, like when I died there, like the castle doesn't go that poorly. But that was just very unfortunate. Okay, so I did say that I'm only going to be using Toadette, and so in order for me to keep my word, I'm just gonna go back to World 1. So I don't want to do this level as well without Acorn.
Yeah. I think
completely
also
forgot this was for
7-1
that.
is one of the few levels without a super crown in it. So
Yeah, it has a
you'd be
penguin suit, I think.
you'd be doing it within a penguin suit, which wouldn't be a bad thing, except for 7-1 is one of the poorest designed levels for a penguin suit.
Yeah, you're supposed to use a penguin suit in order to go through the level. But we're gonna be doing something else instead, and this is definitely my least favorite level in the entire game. So this will probably be the only time I call serious time. So hopefully things can go well here, especially since this run's already gone poorly. There's a really precise jump at the end here. Okay, got it. So that jump right there is a 2-frame window to hit that jump to get over those fuzzies. And if you get hit, you just die. So that was very good that I got that. As Toadette, it's actually easier because Toadette does not have ice physics. And normally when you are running on ice, it's really easy for your inputs get dropped. So that is a bit harder to do as everyone else.
Yeah, I don't even do that jump without the without turning back. If you turn back, it makes it a lot easier.
So this next level is pretty straightforward. Not really much to talk about here.
What do you mean? This is the hardest level of the run.
It's fun to get the star power if it wasn't such a time loss to do it, because you just plow through all those wigglers and get like 15 lives.
I didn't even know there was a star in this level.
It's super if you're in a speed run, it would be basically super RNG whether you get it, because you have to use a chain chomp to get it.
Oh god, no.
Yeah.
And now we have a hard level.
So this level's difficult. It's probably the second hardest level of the game, especially when grinding attempts. And, well, let's not spoil it.
Although, I will put another plus RNG in the chat.
So these fire bros right here, you can get rid of them if you want. Sometimes it's sometimes risky because their patterns are pretty erratic and semi-unpredictable. But and if I do this correctly, I should be able to get a 59 here. Okay, we bonk, so we're gonna sell him for a 58. Okay. All right, so Kamek is a great boss. He is a fantastic boss. He has 0 RNG, and nothing ever goes wrong in this fight.
Easiest fight of the room.
Oh, baby. Okay, never mind. Okay, and then this third hit is always the same. Alright, so we got the backup hit on the second hit. So actually it's a pure guessing game pretty much. Basically you just pick a side and then you have a 50% chance of getting it right. And then that's for the first 2 hits. and then the third is always the same. He always spawns in the middle. If you miss,
I don't think I've ever seen anyone get him like not on the first spawn, like on the second hit. That was pretty cool.
if you miss like I did, I guessed wrong on the second hit, and so if that happens, there is a backup strat which I did get, and you can't always get that backup hit because it's random. Alright, so right here, I'm going to wait again because the fastest time you get is an 88, which, means fireworks. You get a star,
Yeah.
but at this point, we don't need stars.
Yep. The time it takes to acquire the star, we have found no place where you could use the star to save that much more time plus more in return.
And stars only save like 4 seconds, and that's really it.
This level has a cool strat at the end.
Yeah, it's pretty risky, but it's a marathon, so we're gonna go for risky strats. This first part here, you can kind of play slow. Like we're like right there. That looked like a mistake, but I'm losing no time because I gotta wait for this thing to pass me. Then
yeah, it's all on a global cycle.
And then right here, I'm actually going to slow down, and that's so at the end I can get a better cycle of fire bars. Okay, just like that. So that is actually tighter than that looks.
I can confirm that.
Alright, so the Ludwig fight, he has an attack phase where he turns into these clones, and you have to guess which clone is the right one, which is the one that shoots the most fireballs. But with the acorn, you can skip having to see that. Like that.
What I love about like the Innocent Beat series is like I feel like they put a lot of time into like giving the Koopalings these little gimmicks and stuff, and in the speedruns you don't see like any of it. Like in any of the games.
Well, I think the only one who's gotten the most time to shine out of all their gimmicks across the entire franchise is Iggy.
Yeah.
And that's not a compliment.
Sorry, you actually cut out. I didn't hear which one you said.
I was saying the only Koopaling that they gave the most attention to, where it gets to show off the most, is Iggy, and that's across the entire franchise.
That's probably true with the chain chomp.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Alright, so now we have 7 Airship coming up. It is divided into 2 sections. The first section is an autoscroller where you have to ride a cloud in order to get across, but I'm going to be doing a skip that skips having to do that. It goes well.
Yeah, skip is really satisfying.
Yeah, I guess also, fun fact, as Peachette, and this is exclusive to Peachette, you can do a precise timing to get a jump and not land on the cloud, instead land on a question block. And the only thing that does is it makes it to where the claw, which we're not going to see anyway, never spawns, because that's tied to the cloud.
Oh, wow,
moving.
that's interesting.
Yeah. It saves no time, but it's a cool thing to show off.
Okay, so we got it, and then now this part right here, you gotta wait, and then now it's the Bowser Jr. fight. So, I'll talk about the fight afterwards, because
just know that it might not look super optimal, but he's probably gonna do it very optimally.
Okay, so that may have looked really easy, and it's actually harder than I made it look, because Bowser Jr.'s hitbox is like the dumbest thing in the world. There are like insane...
Not as bad as Innocent Beat.
There are a bunch of insane clips from various runners of this game and in NSMBU where it looks like they've hit Bowser Jr., but they either get knocked out of hitting him, they go straight through him, or they just get hit anyway. And not having an acorn for this fight, this like the most random boss fight without an acorn.
Yeah.
Even more random than Kamek. You don't want to deal with that fight without an acorn. Alright.
Yeah, the fastest way to do that is actually every time you hit him, you come back to the ground and then jump and fly up again, but it's pretty risky.
And there's also another minor optimization that I did, and that is I landed on the left side, and that's because the blocks fall from left to right, and so by landing to the very left, you actually save a whole second, which is actually crazy. Okay, so now we're off to World 8, the final world, and World 8 is pretty short in NSLU. In Mario U, there's actually an alternative route because there's a skip in one of the levels that makes it faster to do an extra level than the route that we're about to take here. So 8-1 is, since I do not have any backup acorns, it's a pretty scary situation for me. But hopefully it goes well. So there's these fireballs, and they have random patterns. There's about 3 random patterns to look out for, and one of them is the fastest pattern, and it saves like 2 seconds over the worst pattern.
Yeah, there's like a good, a medium, and a bad.
Okay, so we got the worst pattern. So we have to wait for 4 fireballs, and then safely go up. You can go up as soon as there's an opening, but that's really risky because because you're on the very top of the screen, it's really hard to react if there's a fireball in your way. So it's really easy to get hit.
Those fireballs have hitboxes even if they're off screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so now we got the secret exit of 8-1. If you're playing Mario, you would actually get the normal exit. Which, you know, it does sound weird because you're going to be doing an extra level, but it is faster in Mario. This level right here is really technical, so how this goes. Okay, we got it. So you actually, your cycle has to be specific because you cannot be too fast, otherwise you'll be too early and then you'll die. And then being too slow means you have to do some real improv strats for this level.
When those fireballs really start raining down, it becomes a real RNG problem.
Okay, so coming up now is 8 Castle, which normally you're supposed to ride an elevator in order to get across the level. But we are going to say screw that.
It was a really cool jump at the end.
You can't say that in Mario U2, but it's a lot harder to do.
Yeah, elevator skip in this game is a lot easier than in Mario U.
Yeah.
This next strat is, hopefully I get this. Okay, we got it. Alright, so that saves 1 second over the other alternative method. The jump that I did right there is very specific. It is low enough that I am underneath the bomb and high enough that I'm over the spark. And so, the jump is kind of lenient because the spark's hitbox is really small, but it's still really easy to mess it up. Just because it has to be so specific.
It's not that small.
So this next level, there is a kind of new strat. This one was found by Matt Astix, and this saves like 1 second over what has always been done. But it's very difficult to do. But we're gonna try anyway.
I'm still yet to be able to pull off this strat. I don't even know how to get it. To be honest.
Okay, we got it.
Nice job.
So what
Are you
happens
just
there?
holding left? Or...
Yeah. So what happens there is I am holding on to the right side of Bowser Jr. and Bowser Jr. will just keep going right, and you just go really fast across the screen. So it's really cool, but so difficult to set up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the other method is just doing consistent jumps, because the way you move throughout the level is, or the way Bowser Jr. like comes down is based on how you move throughout the levels. So, the other way is a lot more consistent. Also, that was like the hardest fight in the game, by the way, and we just won.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. New world record. Sub 105 or sub 106.
The worst part is that it wasn't even world record.
Wait, actually. Yeah, I guess I would have missed it by like a few seconds.
Alright. So, spoilers, that actually wasn't it. There's actually a lot, coming up, there's a lot to talk about here. So this final phase of Bowser is a very complex fight. So the first thing I'm going to do is a trick called Fireball Skip. Normally Bowser will shoot 2 fireballs, and then Bowser Jr. on the other hand will one down. However, I'm going to fly up as soon as Bowser shoots his first fireball, and that will skip his second fireball, which saves 2 seconds. And then I'll let you guys explain the rest of the fight.
Yeah.
Enchan's gonna steal the clown car from Bowser Jr. and use it to hit Bowser, and then he's going to steal it again before Bowser Jr. can take it back, and rinse and repeat until he wins.
Yeah, and while he's in the cart, you want to stay like as high as possible in the air, and then when Bowser jumps up, you kind of go like above the shell, and you like go left, right. It's kind of weird, but
okay,
it just works.
That was really scary.
Jeez.
Okay, so time's coming up. Okay, time. Alright, so the time that I got is 108.08, which is
nice number.
definitely one of the worst runs I've had in a while. Hopefully I was able to pull off some impressive stuff that were entertaining enough for you guys. So
That's still a good run. I think you showed most everything off.
yeah, and the thing is, it still beats everybody on the All Castles leaderboards. at least exclusively to Deluxe.
Maybe I will join you soon. Soon enough.
I am thankful because I'm pretty sure I don't have any Luigi U Castles runs, so I can agree with you and not feel shame.
But yeah.
And by the way, that Bowser fight is like a lot harder than you made it look.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes on in that fight, and it goes by really fast if all goes well. So yeah, let's see. Let me look at the schedule. Okay, so we have a little bit more time. So we can sit through the credits here. And
let me think. I'm trying to think if there's anything like show off. Like anything like super out of the ordinary. Because the only thing that comes to mind is that little bug where you can throw a shell and get a little slide, but much.
I mean, the only thing that I can think you really didn't show off in this run was 5 tower skip, but I don't know if you'd really want to show that. Yeah,
Alright.
good job.
Yeah. So the world record is, at least for this specific category, is 106.02. And so my goal is to get a 105 or as Toadette here. And because I'm just barely off, it is very possible to get it. 105 is also possible as Luigi as well. So I will also be going for that as well in the future.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and then you throw Nabbit into the mix, it gets real easy because you're skipping that cutscene and you're making the swimming levels even easier.
Yeah.
But... oh yes, and now for the mini game.
Okay, so you can actually move around here, and you can get coins. It's pretty fun to get to see how many coins you get here.
Although this run's invalid because M-Chan didn't get 69 coins of credits.
Oh, I did not know that was the rule.
He'll just have to go for...
I'm just kidding. That's only NSMB Wii.
He can go for... he can try to go for 420 coins if you really want to go down that way.
In NSMB Wii, most people... Oh, go ahead.
I was about to say, I'm not sure if 420 is possible on this game.
It is.
I don't think
on
so.
the...
Oh, it is.
It is.
Yeah. You can get up to like 500 coins.
Yeah, in Wii, most people go for 69, but I usually try to get 4 as one character and then 20 as another. Just for fun.
So I guess we can... so I guess while we do have some time here, I guess I can kind of talk about my origin story since I have been running this game for a very long time. So it was around January of 2016, right after HDQ that year, where I was really bored one day and just decided to like look up some speedrun videos to watch after watching HDQ. And then I stumbled upon Ewaller's 100% world record at the time, 224.00, and I watched through the whole run and was really impressed by it. And I remember not really liking this game, and so I decided to kind of just challenge myself as to see how well my sanity can live up to by starting speedrunning the game after watching Ewaller's 100% record. I did a couple runs. My first 2 runs were on all castles. Didn't really like them at first, so I didn't run the game for a while. But then later that summer, a runner named Supernova asked me if I wanted to race him on 100% in the game, and so I learned the category for 4-hour race. And then after our race, I had fun, and then it kind of made me want to take the game a bit more seriously. And so since then, it was like a competition between myself, Supernova, and Stash on who the better NSLU runner was, and then I just kept going from there.
100% is a lot of fun in this game. I can concur to that because I've done 100% for both this game and the Mario U side. Oh. I would highly recommend it for anyone who's watching who even just wants to do it casually. It's like, this game is fun, especially as Peachette.
Yeah, we have 3 main categories of this game. We have any percent all cast. We have any percent, which is of course being the game as fast as we can. We have all cast, which is the run that I just did, and then 100% where you have to basically do everything. So that's like the one of the coolest categories in the game.
And you currently have all 3 records, right?
For this version, yes.
Dang.
Okay, so I guess one thing I can show off is that when you beat the game, there is something called the Secret Island, where you can kind of look at your stats throughout the game. So let's see, with how this run went, how my stats went.
You missed.
I know
Yeah.
I did.
Also, post game, you unlock a bonus world, but in order to play levels in that game, in that world, you have to collect all the star coins in their respective levels.
Yeah. Well, I didn't kill any Goombas, so that's good.
Did we even come across any Goombas?
You do, but you
Okay.
you don't kill any. I don't think. I mean, you there. I mean, there is one where you could, but most of the time you don't.
Hey, you stomped 0 Goombas during the run.
Yeah.
That's here now. I'm
Pacifist
surprised you didn't get any of the group ground pounds.
Oh, I know. How could I not do that? All right. Well, I don't really have anything else to show off now.
You want to just shout out like the Discord?
Okay, so if you guys are interested in learning any of learning this game or basically any of the games in the NSMB series, we do have a whole community that's linked together for all the games. And so you can join that and you can ask something and we're always happy to help.
Yep.
This game in particular is, as you saw, it's really difficult. Everything that you saw is a lot harder than I made it look, and that's because NSLU it has this really difficult movement to get in that you have to get used to. It takes a lot of practice in order to get used to this game's movement. So it's a very difficult speedrun overall to get into. But we're always happy to help if you have any questions. So if you like what you saw, you can check out my channel. I run this game semi regularly, and Pretends here also runs this game every once in a while in a new video. He runs NSMB2 and NSMBW. So.
I recently picked this one up though, so now I am kind of running this one.
Nice.
So we do run a pretty good variety of different games in its series.
Yeah, and a lot of people who run the games in this series, I feel like run more than one game.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that, since there's not much else to talk about or show off, I'm gonna go ahead and contact the next runner, which coming up next is, I believe, Apathy Duck. Sorry, I butchered your name. But he's gonna be running a ROM hack of Super Metroid and A Link to the Past, both combined together, and he's gonna be running that, and it's a pretty cool run. So you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, and go follow
All right,
M.
thank you
guys.
all.
He's really good at this game.